meet you, Jeff.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for coming and taking the time.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Like this
is awesome.
So,
Should be thanking you. You have a good time so far?
Yeah, man, it's been great. I'm so surprised at how this whole campus and everything reminds me of school a little bit. You got like the cafeteria here. You got some little basketball nets out there. I think that's
awesome. Yeah, we spent a lot of time here, so you gotta make it cool.
I remind you guys, we just have to sit closer to each other than feels natural because on camera, you gotta cuddle.
I think we can zoom this out a bit.
I think we just did.
Oh, did we? Oh, we maxed it out.
You might have to go that way.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you again for being here. Oh, do you hear my voice in here too?
I do not hear your voice. You hear me?
I do hear you in my ear right now.
Okay. I hear nothing. I don't know if chat can hear me.
I think they can hear you, right? Do I need to crank up the volume a little bit, up and down? Jeff, loud?
I'm loud. I'm known for being very loud. Yes. Boisterous.
All right. So actually, before we kick things off, should we play? Are we good to go? Everything is up? Okay, so let's.
Okay, we're scooching.
We're
yeah,
scooching.
look
We're
at that.
Scooching. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is let's watch the overview of Baptiste.
Oh, cool.
Because I don't think anybody has seen it. Or the video is live, right? We're good to go?
It should be. Around now anyway, he should be live. So we tried something different this time where we put the origin. We did a little tease last week. We put the origin video up last night.
Yeah.
And then today is PTR ability video. So hopefully it was fun. Try something different.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's kick things off. Let's add the source here. Hopefully this is how it works. We good to go? Okay. Tell me if you can hear this too. Did you hear that?
I can hear nothing, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm fine.
That works. All right. Oh, I just realized they can't see anything. 1 second.
But they want to watch us watch the movie. I think that's even cooler. No, it's not cool.
We could just see our reaction to it. See the reflection from our glasses.
Yeah.
That'll be the way to watch it. Now,
we're going to start a whole series of reaction videos.
How do I make this?
Do you need Molly's help?
Oh, no, never mind. I think we got it. Oh, I just didn't have the source. Do you want our reaction in it? All right, we'll do it. Let's get rid of this stuff here. We'll move us to the top left corner. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way of anything. Let me take this off. So that's the first time
Yeah. Well, he's got a primary and an alternate fire, which is really exciting for him. The primary is obviously he's doing damage. It's a 3-round burst, which I think is a lot of fun. It's like a fully automatic 3-round burst. I don't know if that makes any sense. Look at that. That was him. That was the worst reaction video we've ever done. Like we got distracted.
We just got distracted. We didn't get.
I don't know. He's got a gun.
We got to make a thumbnail where we're just like, oh, excited face. Okay, so walk me through. If I may ask, like how is the process of designing a hero like Baptiste? You guys start with you start with the lore. It has to match the story first, right? But
not always. With Baptiste, we had a couple goals that we started with, and the lore was not one of them. We really wanted another primary healer.
Right.
The players of the game, they've sort of put our healers into two categories where there's secondary healers and primary healers.
Yes.
They consider someone like a Brigitte a secondary healer, and they consider somebody like a Mercy or maybe a Moira as a primary healer. And we felt like, one, the game just needed more healers. We needed more choice for support players. Two, we also wanted, when we made a new healer, we really wanted it to be a primary healer, somebody who could like really keep the team alive. And then we had some other goals where we don't really have, like, a lot of our support characters from a personality standpoint are kind of like, I just want to save the world. I don't want people to get hurt. I'm like super positive. And we really wanted a badass. We wanted somebody who was like very skilled soldier that would appeal to a lot of different people. We've also, we have Lucio in the support category, but we don't have a lot of male characters.
Yeah.
And there was a desire like, hey, we really want some more male support characters. So we were looking at that. And then gameplay-wise, there were a bunch of things that were interesting to us. One was that we were fooling around with this concept of like, well, what's a splash damage healer or like a grenade-based healer, and how could that be fun? And Jeff and Josh, our hero designers, just got a really quick prototype up of like what splash damage healing could feel like, and we did think it was super fun. So those were kind of the elements that led into like the formation of like, okay, it's gonna be this character, and then the lore actually came afterwards.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question. When thinking of abilities for heroes, I've noticed with the recent couple releases, especially Wrecking Ball and now Baptiste, you added abilities on the crouch button. So right now Baptiste can do that super jump, and Hammond can do the pile driver. When you think of ability designs, are there considerations for like the limit on what you can do? Do you ever think of, okay, do we need more buttons to bind for the hero? Like there's interact now with
Yeah,
soft run
there's
stuff?
this concept that we have that we just call design elegance, and I think as game designers, our instinct is always like, ooh, I wish we had more buttons, and then we could do more things. But the reality is, some of the best, coolest game designs work on very few buttons. Like even just think of what it was like. I'm going to date myself now, but like playing Mario 64 and just jumping with Mario and how that would feel. Like there's a very limited control and sort of input scheme going on. We like to think of that for Overwatch heroes, that they don't get too complex and crazy. In the case of Baptiste, we really wanted him to be able to get to high ground because he was splash damage. So we wanted him to have a high jump. We didn't want him always, every time you jump, going super high because it's kind of a liability also. So we think that the scheme that we came up with kind of works, where it lets you buy into like, do I want to jump up high? It's also a good disengage. It's not as good as some other disengages for some of our other support heroes, but it can be nice as a support hero to be able to say like, I got to get out of here and I'm going to go way up there and get away from this.
So with the mobility thing into play, do you guys also consider like the directional influence? Like I know, like after trying him out, he's got a very vertical movement, but then do you guys have to limit his horizontal and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have a lot of control over how much we allow you to move in all directions, or if you have air control at all. I mean, Overwatch in general is a very forgiving game with air control. Which is by choice. We want, player agency is important to us, and we know how frustrated it can be when you get knocked around and you can't adjust where you're going. But we played. Some of it had to do with how does the character feel, and like what am I trying to do, and then a lot of it was also dictated by a map and level design. So going into the different maps, jumping around, does it feel like he should get here? Does he feel like he should go there? And playing around with some of the map and level design as well.
So that's I think that's a cool consideration. We actually have the patch notes that just came out.
Oh yeah,
well, so
this patch, by the way, in addition. Oh, yay. Thanks, Molly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're checking them out.
Okay.
So in addition to Baptiste, which is the coolest part of the patch, there's a lot of hero changes, like a lot. There's it's quite a significant balance patch as well. And a lot of this is crazy. Like I actually had to go to our hero and balance team and check with them because we were trying so many things that I don't even remember which things made the cut or not. Some of the stuff got pulled out and it's going to show up later. Some of the stuff got changed. So there's a lot to look at in terms of patch notes.
This is going to be a surprise to, I guess, a little bit to both of us a little bit then. So going over, starting from the top, this is the Baptiste release. Okay, so armor. Ooh. Beam type damage now reduced by 20% when hitting armor.
Yeah, this one this one was just to create a consistent. So there is a phrase that's overloaded in Overwatch, which people call tick rate.
Yeah.
And they talk about the server tick rate, and then
Right.
there's a tick rate on every beam. Like when Winston's lightning is out, it's
Yeah.
not just a constant effect; it's actually a pulsing
Pulsing
effect,
effect. Yeah.
which is separate from a network tick rate. But everybody
It just
calls
it a tick,
everything
'cause people
tick
just hear
rate.
that tick sound, so they'll just
Yeah,
assume it's a
and
tick.
and so like
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
beam stuff had a different pulse rate, and
Yep.
that meant that certain characters were benefiting or being put at a detriment more than others based on things like armor.
Yes.
And this was just more of a consistency note. Like
Okay.
you're just going to know in general if you have a constant effect that it does 20%, rather than like well, Symmetra does this much and Winston does that
Yeah,
much.
because
Like
each iteration of damage on the armor obviously would change. So this is just going to be a flat 20%.
Yeah.
No matter the beam.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
so everybody will know. Like that should just make the game more understandable. Hopefully.
Just make it universal across.
Yeah.
So the beam-based heroes, are these all the examples? Widow's Venom Mine,
Yeah, those are some of
Symmetra.
them.
Okay,
So it's basically like damage over times.
maybe Moira, like Moira Orb or Moira
Yeah,
Beam
the
and
purple
stuff?
ball. Yeah, the beam, all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So consistency is the first thing. Just makes it intuitive and a bit easier to understand. I like that.
And the next damage boost note. This one, I think this is how most players thought. Like players who haven't like heavily analyzed the mechanics of the game and sat in the training room for hours.
Yeah.
Most of them probably thought this is how it works. So like if you're damage boosting Hanzo and he shoots the dragon out,
Yeah.
at the moment he shot the dragon, that's when you determine does it have the damage boost or not. Not like he has the dragon out and then I damage boost.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this is another just clarity.
So this will be very significant for the playstyle change for the Pharah Mercy, because right now, I guess what a lot of Mercies would do is just stay healing, and then once they see the Pharah rocket come out, then they'll quickly flick to damage boost before it makes impact. But now, as long as there is damage boost affected on Pharah before the rocket comes out, that rocket will be boosted no matter
the
what.
rocket is boosted at the time of
So this is a
pulling the trigger.
Gameplay change for those two heroes very specifically. So now we can talk about knockback. Oh, so knockback distance is more consistent. Heroes that are flying can now be knocked back and slowed. Oh, okay.
So knockback was really inconsistent. You saw this probably the most on characters like Diva. I think Diva was probably like as she was using her booster ability, depending on the direction, the type of knockback, where Diva was, whether she was using booster or not, you get a different effect. And it basically is just to make knockbacks consistent.
Right.
So in general, you're going to see, and part of what we're looking for from PTR testing from everybody is knockback should feel very consistent. You should know when you knock somebody back how much they're going to get knocked back.
Right.
And it should feel very consistent. And if it doesn't, let us know, and we're going to adjust everything on PTR. And the hard part here is it means that the amount that certain characters and certain abilities were getting knocked back or applying knockback, a lot of it had to be retuned.
Right.
The goal is not for a dramatic change in how the game feels. The goal is actually just that knockbacks feel more consistent and less kind of random.
Okay. So then would the directional influence in the opposite direction still have the same? This is mostly for like ability flying movements, right?
It's when things
like Diva's flying, then you can
Yeah.
move her. But let's say, for example, like Orisa, how if she's shooting her gun, then she's a little bit heavier in that sense. Is that also tuned along with the knockback distance?
Orisa got affected as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's as a hint, Orisa also the amount that she slows herself while firing her cannon actually changes this patch. So Orisa can move faster while firing.
Wow.
Which is a cool buff to Orisa.
Yeah.
I hope it made this patch. Now I'm going to say that, and then Orisa players are going to freak out if
no.
it's on the patch notes.
We'll find out. We'll go alphabetically. I think the hero updates. We're at A. We start with Anna anyways. So what's after knockback? A bit of sound plays when you land a hit while damage boosted, and a new sound plays.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just more of like a quality of life change. That
Well,
feedback, right?
It really plays into Baptiste. So probably Baptiste obviously is going to be defined by that grenade and healing ability that he can do.
Yep.
His ability that people are going to become the most familiar with as sort of a defining part of Baptiste is the Immortality field.
Yes.
And those sound changes were first implemented so you knew if players of the enemy team were under the effect of Immortality field and you're shooting them,
then you can
it was
hear
this immediate indicator of like, oh man, I'm not doing damage. I should shoot the field instead of, keep laying damage on that character that's immune.
I haven't played him yet, but like if I just based on that immunity field, I was curious. So what if we launched like a Riptire or a Diva Bomb into it and it explodes? It would obviously destroy the field, but would everybody
would be protected.
It would still be protected.
Yeah.
So the calculation would be.
Yeah, it protects. And it's actually like Junkrat tires and Diva Bombs are some of our favorite uses in our play tests, you know, when that comes. And then there's this game, like the Junkrat player starts to learn that, you know, I've got to bait out the field or maybe I, bob in and out.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of counterplay. And there was a lot of concern. You start telling people about Immortality field and they're like, oh, it's going to break the game. It's like, one, it's on a really long cooldown.
Right.
Two, you can actually shoot the device that's generating the field. And that's like the key to remember is that there's counterplay. It's like when the moment happens, don't just keep shooting the enemy team, imagining they're going to die because they're not. Change your aim, shoot the thing, then you can kill the team.
How much HP does it have right now?
I'm not sure. We've changed it so many times.
Right.
So I'm terrible with numbers. Like if you ask me the number, like the healing grenade, it might do 65, it might do 75. Like we change those things so frequently that I don't know where it ended up. It's always easier to remember the values when the stuff has not changed in the game for a really long time. But we're like playtest changing stuff, and it'll probably change a lot on the PTR too.
Gotcha. And what's the coolest interaction you guys have had in the playtesting with, like, the way Baptiste can enable with his ultimate or with the use of his immunity? What was the coolest thing you guys saw?
Okay, so his ultimate is crazy with stacking.
Right.
So we've gotten like Orisa. We've had comps that have had Orisa and Mercy with her blue beam, Orisa with the supercharger, Baptiste deploys the amplification matrix.
Right.
And then you've got a Zenyatta also in your team discording, and like you're just erasing the enemy team.
Wow.
It's pretty effective. Now it's really hard to line that up.
Yeah, of course.
Because the matrix is actually kind of small. It's smaller than a Reinhardt shield. So that means that your team they have to be grouped up. They have to be aimed the correct way, and the enemy team really has to be out of position to line themselves up like that. But when those moments happen, it's fun. And then just the saving grace with the Immortality field of like, here comes, Diva Bomb's coming. We all got caught out of place, but like the last second, throw it down, save everybody. Those moments have felt awesome.
That's crazy. There's no limit on the damage modifiers for offense, right? Like, so if you stack the Nano, Baptiste's...
you can stack it all.
There's no limit on that.
There's no limit.
But there is a limit on damage reduction, though, however, as far as I know, right?
Yeah. So our thought is, like, we've played around with, at some point, we might have to put a cap on how much, damage amplification we allow teams to have.
Yeah.
The reality is... I dream of the day where we're seeing the comp of Orisa, Ana, Zen, Baptiste, or like this is not a comp that exists currently.
Right.
And it's not heavily what we're seeing in the game. So rather than like preemptively nerfing it based on the theory of what would happen if that lined up, we'd rather let it play out a little bit. If we start to see insane amounts of damage stacking, and it's actually a problem, we certainly have mechanisms. We probably threshold it at a certain percent, and it's a really easy fix for us to make, but it's something that hasn't felt bad enough to us yet.
Yeah, because you do have to expend a lot of resources in order to even get something like that. I mean, you're going to expend your Nano Boost, your Orisa Supercharger, Baptiste, all 3 alts just to have that cool little like instant one-shot deletion.
I long for the day when the heavy feedback we're hearing is, oh my God, Orisa Supercharger is such an overpowered ultimate. I welcome that moment happening
right now. I welcome more Orisa
it.
players. I think Orisa is severely underrated, in my opinion. What do you like
I
Orisa?
totally agree. I'm actually a tank player,
okay.
And my least played tank is Orisa because I think she requires the most skill. And out of all the tanks, and I think a bad Orisa player is very, very damaging to a team.
Right.
And actually, I think Hammond is might be up there for most skill tank.
Yeah.
So I stand corrected on that. But what I mean is like very common for not skilled Orisa players to put that shield down in the wrong place and not know how to push your team forward.
Right.
It's a lot more obvious with Reinhardt to know how to push your team forward and make progress and capture points, where bad Orisa players tend to sit back and not do the right things. They also tend to use Fortify at the wrong times, and they're never catching anybody in her alt fire, which is like probably, Halt is one of the most powerful things tools. She can do.
Agreed.
So hopefully, like Orisa gets a little buff here, not a major one, but hopefully it makes a difference.
All right, so where were we? Okay, so the sound plays. This is just for good feedback, like you said with Baptiste, so you
and
know
we're
who's
still
immune.
iterating on this too to make it, especially the boost sound, we think could be a little bit sweeter. And then Nano got a little bit of a nerf.
Okay. I did think the instant heal effect was relatively powerful, speaking as like an Ana player. Doomfist. So now we're buffing him slightly. So his seismic slam range is still, nerfed a bit, but the cooldowns are going down a little bit.
So we'll see. And I think he's such a cooldown dependent hero. He's what we call an ability-based hero.
Yes.
So any change to his cooldowns is going to make him more viable. Doomfist, you want to talk about characters on the razor edge of tuning.
Yeah.
It's characters like Doomfist and Sombra and Bastion. It's hard to have them perceived as good by the community and not just devastate and wreck everybody versus balancing them a little bit on the side of weak or like giving them that really high skill ceiling only. That's kind of where Sombra is right now. Like Sombra is one of the most powerful characters in the game for the top players,
but she's fairly underutilized in the
she's not only underutilized but has a low win rate on less skilled players. So she's like the definition of a high skill ceiling hero. So we'll see what happens.
Doomfist. We'll see with this. Sonic Arrow, a little bit of buff for the radius to make it a bit more effective. Pretty
changing some stuff. I think it'll be nice to see it a little bit more.
Soundwave now counts towards offensive assists.
We know that the most important thing to our players is offensive assists, and we're focused on getting it right. I don't know.
Just stare into the camera and say it louder. Offensive
when that
assists.
card comes up, offensive assists.
And you can thank you, Lucio's there. All right.
Like 4 minutes?
Okay.
Cool. I have to go in 4 minutes. I'm sorry, everybody.
He's a busy man. McCree. So we're going to a
little bit of a nerf. So we've been doing the pendulum swing balance on McCree. It's like we want him to be back. Fan the Hammer is always, it's a dicey ability because it requires less skill than his primary fire. And it's getting it to the right place where it doesn't absolutely wreck tanks. Like the design of McCree is not to be the tank wrecker, but we're trying to find the sweet spot, and that's an easy one for us to balance back and forth if we get it wrong.
It's still good against, if you catch a little squishy hero out, but it won't devastate tanks or like Winston's bubble or something as easily. Okay. But then in return, you are buffing the Deadeye. 275 to 550 after locking on. Oh, okay. So it'll ramp up after the skull locks on. Okay.
And you're gonna break some shields. It'll be nice.
Okay.
May buffs. How exciting are May buffs?
Yes.
She's one of those characters where you get her a little bit too viable and the rage will start, but we'll see.
I think this change to the ice wall is actually quite nice. I mean, for the most part, when a May gets a good wall off, everybody just panics and just stares at the wall instead of. And then I think this lowering the HP will incentivize people to like pick one of the slices of the wall and focus
try
it down.
To have something happen with it. So we debated this one greatly. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not 100% on the ice wall, but there's some very good reasons to do it, so we'll see what happens.
I like that change. All right, let's speed through the rest of this. Biotic Grasp. So Moira's going to get a few more buffs. Is this did this have anything to do with playing around with Baptiste as well? Or what were the kind of compositions you saw with Baptiste in in combination with other support heroes.
Well, we saw a lot of Baptiste getting played actually with more of the secondary supports. So, and then some of it too is like on our teams, because we're a very small group, we're small sampling. So
right.
like we have an amazing Lucio main on our team. So well, we saw Baptiste with a lot of Lucio. Zenyatta is very meta right now. So a lot of our support players paired with Baptiste were picking Zenyatta. And I think a lot of that less had to do with, boy, this is a great combo, and more of like, well, Zenyatta's just a really great character right now. And with a primary healer, this worked out really well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how Baptiste ends up getting used.
Okay. Cool. And like you said,
the fusion driver,
the Orisa change, so this will hopefully propel her play rate a little bit more. Very underutilized tank, guys. I really think you guys should be playing her more often.
I agree. I agree.
Rocket launcher, a little buff to Pharah with the minimum explosion damage, so it's
this is actually just a revert. It just puts us back where she was. So sometimes the character just ends up where they were. Which is like Soldier 76 is there too.
Yep, we'll just bring him
he's
back
back
up.
to his damage being up. And then he got a little bit of a buff with using a sprint. It should just feel better. And he's got tack visor to adjust some of those ultimates that you want to shoot. It'll actually let you hit them.
Auto target the Immortality field.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that should help.
That'll help. That's a unique interaction with Baptiste. Do you guys, when you guys like design Baptiste, you have to obviously check all the interactions with every hero on your team and against every hero, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy matrix, and the more heroes we add, the crazier it gets.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. Almost. Oh, okay. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. Okay. So Sombra. Boom, hacking a little bit of a buff.
Yeah, that's a buff. Yeah, just straight up buff.
Torbjorn. Oh, reduce. This is a Torbjorn nerf.
Yeah. Yeah, poor base health.
Sorry, I missed this part first.
Yeah.
Okay, kind of lose some power
so
here.
he says a buff, but a slight nerf elsewhere.
Right. This is a big change for Widowmaker.
Yeah. Now counseled on death. That was a big deal for a lot of people. So. But the enemy health bars, I think health information is huge, huge in a game. It tells you who you should pick off.
Yeah.
So, that's both. We call that a kiss curse. In that
a kiss curse.
Well, she got a buff and a nerf at the same time. But I think overall she comes out ahead on that.
Yeah,
I think she'll be.
I think so
good.
Too. Okay.
This will make the ball used a lot more. Right now it busts you out of ball mode. So you'll stay as a ball when you can use the shield, and that shield is like crazy powerful.
It is really good, and I think we've seen some very effective. I mean, Hammond is a very feast or famine. I think is either all in or you can just feed miserably. So I think this will help. Good Hammonds take advantage of this.
Yeah, but we think the introduction of Baptiste is going to be amazing. He's a really fun character. Like obviously his gameplay is super fun. I can't wait for you all to go try Baptiste on the PT. I can't wait for you to try. I wish
I'm
we
excited.
Seen a little,
I'm excited.
Play.
I forgot to log in, so I might be locked behind that long queue time right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, we'll see.
Okay, we'll see what we can do. But it'll be awesome to see you play Baptiste. I think they'll love it. They'll love to get to watch. I hope everybody goes to PTR and plays them.
Yep.
And then all of these balance changes, I think there's going to be a lot of different characters who become viable, and there's a lot of fun stuff in this patch.
Yes.
So it should be cool.
Should be cool to see all these interactions. And is that it? We're going to wrap things up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry I have to go so fast, everybody. I apologize for such a short time.
I appreciate the time taken out of your day to come talk about Baptiste, the patch notes, and for meeting you.
Yeah, great meeting you, Nathan.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, have fun here today.
Will do.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.